Hey everyone, my name is David Dunbar, or the Theme Park Evangelist. So I do sincerely apologize that I did not do a live stream on a Sunday evening, Sunday afternoon, whatever. For a change, I was actually working at Meyer. So believe it or not, I was on my way home from, how should I put this? Let's just say the Florence Mall, for example, on Saturday evening. I just got my glasses cleaned again and adjusted. And Katie basically asked me if I would be interested in working that evening, and I was like, I don't see how I would. I mean, I haven't even been called in yet. So she literally put me on the phone with the manager, and the manager was like, how would you like to work 6:30 to 10? And I was like, okay, sure. I mean, I already have my work clothes. I mean, Katie literally told me, go ahead and bring your work clothes with you because you never know, they're going to call you in. They basically did, in a way. So I came in, and my dad gave me permission to get the popcorn he needed for today, which today's Monday now, by the way. I know I'm not used to doing a live stream on a Monday, trust me. So he was like, yeah, you can just go ahead and get the popcorn and just bring it home after work. And I was like, okay. So, 10 o'clock came around, and literally Katie came up to me and said that the coordinator in charge as well as another guy were talking, and they were all stressed out because they were trying to figure out like how they were going to cover another register until midnight because it was really busy in there that night. I mean, really busy. So Katie asked me on their behalf, hey, could you stay until midnight? And I said, yeah, that's fine. Could you let my mom know? Because I'm literally in the middle of helping another customer at the moment. And she has my mom's phone number already. So she was like, yeah, that's fine. So she went and let them know, and she went and called them, my parents, and my mom had just started to go to sleep, and she was like, okay, well, thank you for letting me know. So the next day I did get actually put on the schedule because they had just done that for me Saturday night. So Katie and I had intentions on watching the service online. Unfortunately, I had so much laundry to do. It took me so long that I didn't even get to her until after 11. And we were planning on doing this run. And at this point, we've just basically ran out of time. And I'm like, well, at this point, I might as well just go ahead and take a quick shower, and, we'll go from there. So I basically, hold on 1 minute. Hi.
Hi, where are you?
I'm actually currently doing a live stream right now, but I will be leaving shortly.
Okay, well, I'm leaving now.
Okay. Don't say too much because your voice is currently live right now.
All right, bye.
Bye. Sorry. Anyway, sorry about that. Katie's not feeling well tonight, so she unfortunately had to leave a little early. Unfortunately. So anyway, with that being said, yeah, as far as like Sunday goes, for example, we basically just got ready for work, and then we got to work, and it was insane. I was like, what the heck? So I'm like stressed to the max, and Katie and I split a lunch. We're really good about sharing things, including germs, unfortunately. And we got to the behind the service desk, and we just started inhaling this chicken noodle, that kind of thing. And we only worked 1 to 9:30, and I didn't even fall asleep till about 1 o'clock in the morning. So when my alarm went off at 8 in the morning for me to go deep clean the Creation Museum again, I was just like, oh, I'm so tired. But you know what? I made myself get up, and I came home. I had hamburgers. I had fries, potato fries for that matter, and salad. And I attempted to eat. Well, one of the burgers I attempted to eat was a very burnt turkey burger, but somehow I inhaled it. I don't know how. Yeah, Katie and I were both very hungry tonight. But anyhow, yeah, that's pretty much it. But you're probably wondering, so what am I going to be discussing tonight? This is not going to be a very long vlog for two reasons. A, I actually got around to this a lot later than I expected to, and I need to run soon before Katie goes to sleep for the night. And B, because I'm only discussing some of my favorite memories from my YouTube channel, I figured I would just do something, short, brief, fun, just to have something for you guys to watch this week. I was at 274 subscribers, but as always, I always lose someone along the way, and I'm just like, it is what it is. So we're going to be a little different tonight. I decided that I would mainly focus on some of my favorite YouTube channel memories from the past 4 years. So when I first moved here to Kentucky, when my YouTube channel started improving. So that being said, let's get to it. We're going to start with 2019. It was about September 2019 when TJ first came all the way up here from Central Florida just to visit me. I did this vlog called Exploring Florence, Kentucky. A lot of people might already be familiar with this YouTube video. It's got 1.8 or 9,000, 1.9 thousand views on YouTube at this moment. And it is my vlog, The Theme Park Evangelist. So more or less, back about 4 years ago, I took TJ to the following locations. I took TJ to White Castle for his very first time, back when I actually could tolerate it and when I really didn't know anything about it. I also took TJ to a place that no longer exists called the Florence Antique Mall. I also took TJ to Meyer, which is actually where the vlog originally originated, if I'm not mistaken. Because that's actually where I originally first started working before I came back literally as of last week. My hair is a mess, my word. So anyway, that was more or less the whole point of it. I had a lot of people that really liked the vlog. I didn't think the city I'm currently living in, Florence, was, that popular, that big of a deal. I'm technically in another area of Florence, but still. So I was like, okay, well, that's different. So I was, very happy about this. And I was very happy that, it was a huge success. And actually, while we're talking about it, well, actually, that was in my Ohio vlogs. So never mind about that. I'm trying to find another one that's here in my Kentucky vlogs that I really, really enjoyed. Oh, this one was fun, even though I didn't really share a whole lot of it. So I went to a strange museum today that was filmed back in May of 2021, something like that. Let me check just to make sure. Yeah, it was like May of 2021, around that vicinity, maybe May of 2022. But I'm leaning more towards 2021 because that was when I was still working in culinary. So even though it doesn't have a lot of views, it only has currently about 18. This one was really interesting because I got invited out to Covington, Kentucky, and by some of the guys over at the Ark Encounter, and they were like, "Oh, you have to go with us. We're going to be going to this really cool museum." And honestly, it started out so cool. It had this really cool train, like miniature train set. And I was like, my expectations for this museum were super high. And as we started going through the entire museum, the museum just got really weird, almost like I was walking through a Ripley's Believe It or Not. And I was like, what am I looking at? And I was just like, what? But the best part is, instead of doing this hike, we basically, everybody except me, unfortunately, packed a lunch. And we all just split the lunch. And then we were like, let's go out to the overlook. I mean, we did take a hike, but not the way I was expecting, trust me. So we went out to this area called the Overlook. It literally overlooks Covington and Cincinnati. It was gorgeous, and you can actually watch that in that YouTube video. It was really neat. I have never, been out there before until that time. So, like, for the first time in, my entire life, I actually got a really good view of Cincinnati. It was a beautiful day, and it's all on camera. So I would definitely recommend checking it out for sure. Let's see here. Oh yeah, this is another one of my favorites. Checking out Buc-ee's for the very first time. This was only sometime last year. So Caitlin Aubrey and her husband both were like, "Oh, dude, you have to go all the way to Buc-ee's with us. It's all the way out in Richmond, Kentucky. It had only just opened recently." So before Katie and I even became a couple, and we both found out we both love Buc-ee's, Caitlin had me drive all the way down to Georgetown, and then me, her, and her husband drove all the way down to Richmond, and they introduced me to Buc-ee's for the very first time. So if you ever have wanted to see my very first impression on Buc-ee's, this would be the video vlog to go to, because this is actually the vlog that inspired me to start vlogging in Buc-ee's every single time I go down to Tennessee, ironically. Or like in April when I go to North Carolina, I'm not just going to be vlogging in the Buc-ee's in Richmond. Found out from Katie, the Buc-ee's in Sevierville, Tennessee, which is over by Dollywood, finally opened. Yay! So I get to vlog in 2 different Buc-ee's, but we don't have a lot of time, so it's going to be really, really short clips, because basically we got to get up early and we got to get through the North Carolina mountains before nightfall and get to Fremont, which is basically where her parents are at right now, in that vicinity. So it's going to be interesting, but we got this. We're going to be taking her car. It will be a fun trip, though. I'm looking forward to it. Oh, and this is another one. This one by far is one of my favorites, and this is why. Exploring Newport, Kentucky. This was the vlog that I filmed. When I originally announced I was going to be filming Exploring Newport, Kentucky, I was not anticipating I'm going to be getting into a serious relationship that could possibly lead to marriage one day. I'm not saying that it's going to, because I mean, that's between me and Katie only, but I don't want, everybody bombarding my YouTube channel with comments like, "Oh, are you getting married?" That kind of thing. I'm not ready to announce that yet. If when the time comes, I will make it, official. But right now, I just want you guys to know that Katie and I are in a very serious relationship, and that's all you need to know. But honestly, that particular day, I had no idea that was going to happen. All I knew was, literally, I had invited my friend Katie, and Jonathan invited his friends to, go eat at Tom and She, and then we were going to go check out the Newport Aquarium for the very first time, all of us. But no, none of us knew at all what was going to happen that day. Honestly, June 10th, 2022 was the most surprising day of my life, if not one of the most. But I mean that in a good way, of course. So, yeah, that was a really good day, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. And that vlog, I will always look back and go, "I remember that," that kind of thing. That vlog is almost 8 months old now, believe it or not. Almost. So, of course, because I didn't really show too much of the Newport Aquarium the very first time, I figured, I would, go back. I'm not saying this is one of my favorite vlogs, but I should let you guys know that if you guys didn't feel like you got enough of the Newport Aquarium the very first time I showed it, I do have another vlog called, let me see here, Full Tour of the Newport Aquarium. and you can get a full tour of the entire thing, which is really, really neat. So this was not necessarily one of my favorites, but this is by far my most viral Ark Encounter vlog to date. If you guys are a fan of the Ark Encounter, back in early-ish mid-August of 2022, the Ark Encounter finally officially opened their Journey of the Animals carousel to the public. Now, I had already written it for an employee preview, but I got to come back and ride it as a guest, if that makes any sense. And I got to come, dressed in my casual clothes and all that. I finally got to show it all on YouTube. It was literally the day after it opened to the public, if that's just anything. And I literally had so many people. Like, I remember one day I was working the answer center. There was one family that said that they watch all my Ark Encounter videos, including that specific one, and they asked to get my picture and everything. That made my day. That was cool. I really enjoyed that. Let's see here. I wouldn't necessarily say this was one of my favorites, but I really enjoyed filming Casting Crowns live in concert. That was another one of those vlogs that was very surprising that how popular it got. It's already got 1.6 thousand views on YouTube, and it's only been out for just a few months. I have actually seen Casting Crowns before in concert, but this was the very first time I've actually filmed them. I never filmed them back in 2018. I filmed Rock the Universe, yes, but I did not film specifically Casting Crowns performing. But honestly, I'm kind of glad I waited, because getting to film them at Northern Kentucky University live really made a difference in the world. It really did. I got a really good view of them, and it was also an excellent concert in general. The last one I'm going to pick from my Kentucky vlogs is checking out Christmas time at the Ark Encounter. This was only my second Christmas time vlog to date. But the reason why I like this one the best out of all three is because this was the very first time that I really knew I had feelings for Katie. So here's the story behind it. So it was Wednesday, December 1st, 2021. Katie had been working in guest services for about 4 months at that point, give or take. And she had really short hair back then, if you guys remember from when I first started dating her. And her hair is a lot longer now, as you've probably seen in my picture, which I might eventually update. But anyway, so more or less, as far as the Christmas time vlog goes, I just happened to get up to the bus at the same time. Katie had already been standing there. Katie was wearing red leggings with snowmen, snowflakes, and animated reindeer on them. And then she was wearing black sneakers, and then she was wearing some kind of red top. And then she had a black toque, or what she calls a toboggan, as well as some gloves on. And I just remember staring at her like, wow, you are adorable, that kind of thing. So we got on the bus, and just happened to be a good friend of ours. And Katie went and plopped herself over by the bus driver, and she basically turned her body only to face him. Found out later on that she did have a huge crush on me, and she just didn't want me to know about it, so she was trying to hide it from me. And I'm just basically sitting there the entire time going, that kind of thing. So you just knew, like I was, serious about her, not realizing 7 months later, 9 days later, we were going to be getting into a relationship that was going to eventually get serious within just a month. So yeah, you just never know what the future is going to hold. Let's just put it that way. But that's another reason why I really love that vlog, because of the fact that we were only friends at the time, and then that happened. All right, let's move on to my Kings Island vlogs, because I have a lot of good different vlogs. I have actually 19 different vlogs I have done. And I think I will end after that, because I don't have a lot of good Ohio ones, but I had a lot of good Kentucky ones, and I had a lot of good Kings Island ones. So I don't remember this one very well. My first Kings Island vlog. This is always the very first one that most people watch, because, well, maybe not necessarily, but this is the very first one I would recommend people watching, because I didn't know anything about Kings Island. I did a full tour of the entire park. I went and checked all the shops. You get my very first impressions of Kings Island by watching this vlog. So I would definitely recommend watching it. I don't do a full in-depth tour of the shops or anything, or finding out like how expensive they are, until the next vlog, like literally not too long later. Another one I really enjoy vlogging, and I actually remember this one very well. This is one of my favorites. What's new at Kings Island this week? Hot 2019 daytime and Kings Island train on ride POV. I love this one a lot because it was really cool out that day. It wasn't too hot, but it wasn't too cold either. It was just right. And that was literally the very last day that Vortex was running. I went on the last day, and I never got to ride it, but out of, compassion for Alan Green, I had to go over to where Vortex was, and I waited over 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes, just to get a really good selfie with Vortex. It was so cool, and I still have that picture to this day, and I was so glad that I got to do that, and, it was so worthwhile. It really was. And then I really enjoyed this next one called What's New at Kings Island This Week, Winterfest 2019. You get my very first impression on Winterfest back, and like the very first time I ever showed Winterfest. If you ever wanted to know what I originally thought about Winterfest and like what I was expecting, this is the vlog to watch. And sometime I need to go back and rewatch some of my older Kings Island vlogs just to see like what my opinion was versus now on Kings Island. You'll see how my opinion changes over the years. And you'll notice if you ever go through my Kings Island vlogs, there's a gap where it goes from 2019 to 2021. And you might ask, what happened? Why didn't you vlog in 2020? Because Kings Island was only open for a very short period of time in 2020. And 2020 actually was ironically when they first introduced another Halloween event that if I remember correctly, I did take Katie to this, but then again, I don't remember now. I may not have, but whatever. So I was thinking about taking Katie to this Halloween event called Tricks and Treats Festival. Now, I personally do go to that if I'm like, I just happen to be there on a Sunday, and I'll vlog it. But the one I always go out of my way to vlog is Haunt, because that's the one that gets all the attention. Not that I, thoroughly enjoy it or anything, but I do prefer Tricks and Treats Festival mainly because it's kind of like Food and Wine Festival at Epcot, but at Kings Island. Another one that I thoroughly enjoyed was my first Kings Island Haunt vlog at night. I got to go with Brian Brown to Haunt, and then because of the way I worded the YouTube video, it did not get a lot of attention. But however, though, this one was really neat because it was the very first time I had ever actually seen it at night. It literally took me 3 years before I finally was like, what the heck? I'm going to go to, Kings Island, go check out haunt at nighttime instead of going during the daytime before all the haunt stuff starts up. So, I go that night and I got to go interact with all the different scare actors. I got to go through all the scare zones. And I mean, I don't do haunted houses because of my epilepsy and religious reasons, but I mean, I personally really enjoyed, just going through that and all that. But moving on. So another one I thoroughly enjoyed was celebrating Kings Island's 50th birthday. So I had to intentionally put the remembering 50 years of Kings Island history into a separate vlog. Why is that? Because it's almost an hour and a half. And not all of that was actually all stuff I had recorded earlier that morning. Some of that was actually my own footage that I had found on YouTube channel. Well, not necessarily on my own, but like research I had done at home. And then I edited everything together into one big vlog. But the other problem was I edited everything incorrectly, so everything kind of got scrambled up. It was kind of stupid, so it's whatever. But the celebrating Kings Island 50th birthday was so much fun. I really enjoyed just walking around the park. It was warm that day, as the day progressed on. And it was just really enjoyable being there. I got to go eat at Coney Barbecue for the very first time, so you get to hear my very first impression on that and getting to see all the 50th birthday decorations, so that was neat. Another 3 that I thoroughly enjoyed from 2022 as well. I finally rode Orion for my first time. I finally, after 2 years basically of Orion being open, I finally got on Orion. So you get my very first impression on Orion and what I thought about it. So my reaction is 100% genuine. So my first time checking out Soak City, once again, took me over 3 years, or at least 3 years, before I finally was like, what the heck again? I'm going to check out Soak City. So I did a full tour of the entire water park. And I loved it so much, I decided to take Katie there myself. So that was kind of neat. And she loved it just as much as I did, if not more. And then what's new at Kings Island this week, Halloween Haunt 2022 opening weekend. That was another one I thoroughly enjoyed. This one's got 1.2 thousand views on YouTube. This is by far my most viral haunt vlog to date until I can surpass it again this October or so. But this one was really neat because I decided to go around the entire park a different way. And the way I worded it also was more catchy, and I think that's why it got a lot more attention. So that was also enjoyable as well. And then finally, my favorite Winterfest vlog, which is the one from just a couple of months ago. What's new at Kings Island this week? Checking out Winterfest 2022. Not only did I finally go with Katie to Winterfest for the very first time, and not only did I get to introduce some of my dad's friends to Kings Island for the very first time, and you get to see all that, you also get an amazing interaction with both Danny and Alana in this vlog. So you get to see me interact with their characters, which was a lot of fun. And if that's not enough, you get a full upfront, super close and personal view of their parade, their holiday parade. So I thought like everything just kind of all, mixed together very well. You got to see the lighting ceremony for the very first time in 3 years. And it happened to be on my 6-year anniversary of my YouTube channel. So it was just a very good day in general. It really was. Unfortunately, that is it for me for the night. I'm hoping that as this vlog is up on YouTube over the week, that I'll start to get more views, but maybe this one just won't have as many. But I decided, I'd be different tonight. I'm always talking about Central Florida and, all that kind of stuff. And yeah, I could have, talked about some of the vlogs I filmed down in Central Florida on vacation, which is something I would not mind doing. another day when I do a live stream. But at this time, I just really wanted to just talk about some of my favorite YouTube videos I had filmed here in Kentucky and Kings Island for that matter. So, I would definitely encourage you to check out as many of those as you possibly want or can. In the meantime, that concludes my vlog. I'm going to go ahead and head over to Walton before it gets too late and come back home and get some sleep before I have to, because I have to get up early again tomorrow morning. So I will see you guys in the next vlog. And always remember, you can do all things through Christ who strengthens you. Have a great night. Peace out.